Aloha, I'm TNC team rider Bella Eberz, and I'm going to teach you how to longboard. I don't want to mislead my fans, so I only speak the truth. I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, my wax is done. When you lay on your longboard, you want your feet to be about a foot from the tail. And I use markers or indicators on my board. So I have the 3 logos, and I usually place my chest in between the back 2 logos. I look up and make sure my nose isn't digging into the water or isn't too far above. So you just kind of have to feel around and adjust yourself accordingly. It also depends if the water is choppy, then you may need to adjust yourself while you paddle to accommodate to the waves that are coming towards you. And you want to make sure that your nose isn't purling into the water or sinking in, or you aren't so far back that the board has a lot of gap between the board and the water. If there's a big gap between the board and the water, then you're not going to paddle to your full potential and you're not going to get to where you're going as fast as you would like to. The biggest mistake I see beginners make when they're laying on the board is that they're too far in front when they're paddling. Because if you're trying to paddle for a wave and you're too far front, then the wave is just going to push your board down like super hard and it's going to shoot back and it might hurt you. For pro tips for laying on your board, you may be able to lift your feet up while you paddle. It helps me balance myself and just keep the flow moving. But do whatever makes you feel comfortable. Oh wait, what am I? Oh!
You're still gonna talk through the radio.
Oh, okay. I thought you were, okay, sorry. I was kind of looking around like, what am I doing? Sorry. Yep. So the whole reason of paddling is to get you from point A to point B. So in order to do that most efficiently, you'd want to make sure that your hand is cupped like this so no water goes through. And you also want to make sure that you're reaching out and not up, in, like slapping the water. When you take a paddle, you want the tips of your fingers to be pushing into the water so that it allows like a diving dolphin. Then you just paddle with all your strength. If you don't have that much, then you might need to do more paddles. Wait, don't put okay, yep. You want the board to be flat while you're paddling because it planes the water. So if it's planing the water and you're pushing the board, it's just gonna glide over the water very smoothly. Arching your back allows you to get a better view of your surroundings. It also allows you to have more range of motion when you're paddling, because if you're just like this, you don't even know where you're going. You're just kind of like praying for the best, like intuition only, I guess. But when you're surfing, you want to look at the waves and know where you're going exactly. So arching your back engages your core muscles, which if you don't already have before you start surfing, may be really tiring and hard to do, and you're probably not going to want to surf for that long because you don't have it. But if you surf consistently and make sure to arch your back every time, it's going to build and it's going to get easier as you do it. If you're laying completely flat on your board without arching your back, you're going to notice that water is going to get over the nose and you're going to start purling a little bit. So arching your back is definitely a solution because it shifts the center of gravity towards the back and it's not so far forward, and it will make the nose lift up just slightly so that you can keep going. If you're paddling on the board and you're too far forward, you're not going to get anywhere. The board is going to purl into the water, shoot back out, and then now you're going to be just swimming. Yep, you're going to be swimming. If you try to paddle and you're too far back on the board, you're gonna be so slow, man. You're gonna be so slow. Your board's gonna be up in the air and you're just gonna be like, whoa, where do I go? Like, don't do that. Make sure your board is flat to the water. And you like zoom in. You don't wanna be like in La La Land with your board like all the way up, right? It would be a mistake to paddle with your hand not fully submerged into the water. but it is an option if you're paddling for a wave and you're already too far in front for when the wave should be breaking. Because if you paddle only slightly, then it still allows you to match the speed of the wave and catch the wave, and it allows you not to purl. So that's the scenario that you would paddle with only the top of the water. But if you're not trying to catch a wave and you're just trying to paddle, you want to make sure that your hand and your arm is fully submerged into the water so you can get as fast. The biggest mistake people make when paddling are slapping their hand across the water. And if you're trying to get somewhere fast enough, or if you're in someone's way, then you want to make sure that your arm is fully submerged into the water and that your back is arched so that you can reach as far as you can to get out of the person's way. They're gonna be like, "Hey man, why are you in my way?" Be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, because you're paddling like this." You gotta paddle with intention. Just paddle like this. Act like you're doing a push-up and then go to your feet. That's all. So I'll tell that to my fans. Sorry, wait, no, don't say that. Oh, I love you guys. My Bella's fan base. Okay. Step 1, don't have melted wax. You're laying down. You're not too far forward, not too far back. You're paddling for a wave, right? Like, oh man, that's the wave I want. Make sure that you're fully on the wave. Then you could grab the rails, or you could act like you're doing a push-up and then pop up like this. And then you stand up, and then you're nose riding already. No practice needed. So when you pop up, you could either grab the rails, like hold it on the side, or you could act like you're doing a push-up. Insert burpees clip.
Oh God, Bella.
Grab the rail, stand, then lift. Don't do this. Don't do this. Okay, oh my God, I'm paddling, yeah. Oh shoot, oh man. Oh, no. Oh, almost there, I'm almost there. Okay, don't do this one. If you do that pop-up that I just demonstrated, you missed out on the whole wave. People will be like, damn, I could have been on that wave. She just kind of like, went like this. Make sure you stand. Don't kneel. I would definitely say that you are more stable on your feet with a wide stance than you are on your knees with a narrow stance like this. Like wobble, like you don't want to be wobbly knees. Like if you're trying to be an advanced beginner, then paddle for the wave, then stand up. Don't go on your knees. Like when you're beginning to surf, you want to make sure that you see like a straight line where you're going. If you're surfing at a more crowded place, make sure that there's not people in the way, because if there's people, then like, boom, you don't want to hit them. Come on, man. So when I pop up, I'm looking at my nose to see if it's not purling or if it's not too far up, to make sure that I'm on the wave and I won't fall. Make sure you have a clear path of vision. Make sure that your nose isn't purling, and then don't go to your knees, just stand up, and then you can stay there, and you can either shuffle your feet to adjust yourself on the board according to how the wave is like moving, and just live your life and surf your best waves. If you were to break up your board into thirds, you would probably be standing on the back third of your board. Probably like zing, zing, probably standing here. Ideally, you would like your back foot to be over the top of your fin. You'd want your back foot to be around here, and then you'd want the top foot to be about shoulder width apart, maybe a little bit wider depending on how you're feeling. You could also use a wider stance if you're having trouble balancing. Like if you try standing up a couple times, you're like, man, I can't do what Bella's saying. My stance is too narrow. You might be able to widen your stance and then also bend your knees. Bend your knees is like #1 tip when you're trying to stand up on your surfboard for the first time. Because if you don't bend your knees and you have no balance, then you're just gonna be like wobbling, and then the wave is just gonna be like, whoa, and you're gonna be like, what? So bend your knees. You can even keep your arms out if that helps you out with your balance. But once you catch a couple more waves and get more comfortable, then you can maybe narrow your stance just a little bit and keep your arms down, maybe be like stylish. Maybe do a little couple shuffles. Adjust yourself, maybe swing your knees. For a beginner, I would recommend a wide stance because it gives you more stability and it allows you to have more of like a range of area on your board when you're on the wave. But when you have a narrow stance, it's gonna make you unbalanced and it's gonna be hard to get used to if you pop up on a narrow stance. The board's gonna be all wobbly. So this would be a narrow stance right here. You can do this when you're more advanced, but this is more like a stylish turn. But then for a beginner, if you're just popping up, you'd want your stance to be shoulder width or even more, and then have your knees bent. This is what you should do with your arms. Or this is what you should do with your arms. Or you could even do one arm. Or you could do, I don't even care about the arms. Whatever you choose. Whatever is your preference, I guess. For beginners, keeping your arms out like this may help with stability, but if you feel like it doesn't help you, then you don't need to do it. It's not like a requirement or anything. So, the biggest mistake when you do a pop-up is that your stance is too narrow. Another big mistake is that just don't pop up. Like you just kind of stay there, like just stand up. You got this. Pro tips for standing up, popping up, do it with style. If you don't do it with style, then what's the point?
Aloha, I'm Devin with TNC Surf. Join the TNC team by subscribing right here. And to get the highest quality surfboards and the best Hawaii style apparel and accessories, go to our website, tcsurf.com. Link in the description and live like this.